Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Genesis chapter 18, verse 20, through chapter 19, verse 38. So the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so blatant, that I must go down and see if they are as wicked as the outcry suggests. If not, I want to know." The two men turned and headed toward Sodom, but Abraham was still standing before the Lord. Abraham approached and said, "Will you sweep away the godly along with the wicked? What if there are 50 godly people in the city? Will you really wipe it out and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 godly people who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the godly with the wicked, treating the godly and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of the whole earth do what is right?" So the Lord replied, "If I find in the city of Sodom 50 godly people, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Then Abraham asked, "Since I have undertaken to speak to the Lord, although I am but dust and ashes, what if there are 5 less than the 50 godly people? Will you destroy the whole city because 5 are lacking?" He replied, "I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." Abraham spoke to him again, "What if 40 are found there?" He replied, "I will not do it for the sake of the 40. Then Abraham said, "May the Lord not be angry, so that I may speak. What if 30 are found there?" He replied, "I will not do it if I find 30 there." Abraham said, "Since I have undertaken to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 are found there?" He replied, "I will not destroy it for the sake of the 20. Finally Abraham said, "May the Lord not be angry, so that I may speak just once more. What if 10 are found there?" He replied, "I will not destroy it for the sake of the 10. The Lord went on his way when he had finished speaking to Abraham. Then Abraham returned home. The 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, while Lot was sitting in the city's gateway. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face toward the ground. He said, "Here, my lords, please turn aside to your servant's house. Stay the night and wash your feet. Then you can be on your way early in the morning." "No," they replied, "we'll spend the night in the town square." But he urged them persistently. So they turned aside with him and entered his house. He prepared a feast for them, including bread baked without yeast, and they ate. Before they could lie down to sleep, all the men, both young and old, from every part of the city of Sodom surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so we can have sex with them." Lot went outside to them, shutting the door behind him. He said, "No, my brothers, don't act so wickedly. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never had sexual relations with a man. Let me bring them out to you. You can do to them whatever you please. Only don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Out of our way," they cried. "And this man came to live here as a foreigner, and now he dares to judge us. We'll do more harm to you than to them." They kept pressing in on Lot until they were close enough to break down the door. So the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house as they shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, from the youngest to the oldest, with blindness. The men outside wore themselves out, trying to find the door. Then the 2 visitors said to Lot, "Who else do you have here? Do you have any sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or other relatives in the city? Get them out of this place, because we are about to destroy it. The outcry against this place is so great before the Lord that he has sent us to destroy it." Then Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were going to marry his daughters. He said, "Quick, get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-law thought he was ridiculing them. At dawn the angels hurried Lot along, saying, "Get going, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or else you will be destroyed when the city is judged." When Lot hesitated, the men grabbed his hand and the hands of his wife and 2 daughters, because the Lord had compassion on them. They led them away and placed them outside the city. When they had brought them outside, they said, "Run for your lives. Don't look behind you or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains, or you will be destroyed." But Lot said to them, "No, please, Lord. Your servant has found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness by sparing my life. But I am not able to escape to the mountains, because this disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, this town over here is close enough to escape to, and it's just a little one. Let me go there. It's just a little place, isn't it? Then I'll survive." "Very well," he replied. "I will grant this request too, and will not overthrow the town you mentioned. Run there quickly, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there." This incident explains why the town was called Zor. The sun had just risen over the land as Lot reached Zoar. Then the Lord rained down sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. It was sent down from the sky by the Lord. So he overthrew those cities and all that region, including all of the inhabitants of the cities, and the vegetation that grew from the ground. But Lot's wife looked back longingly and was turned into a pillar of salt. Abraham got up early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked out toward Sodom and Gomorrah and all the land of that region. As he did so, he saw the smoke rising up from the land, like the smoke of a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the region, God honored Abraham's request. He removed Lot from the midst of the destruction when he destroyed the cities Lot had lived in. Lot went up from Zoar with his 2 daughters and settled in the mountains because he was afraid to live in Zoar. So he lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. Later, the older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there's no man anywhere nearby to have sexual relations with us, according to the way of all the world. Come, let's make our father drunk with wine so we can have sexual relations with him and preserve our family line through our father." So that night they made their father drunk with wine. And the older daughter came and had sexual relations with her father, but he was not aware that she had sexual relations with him, and then got up. So in the morning the older daughter said to the younger, "Since I had sexual relations with my father last night, let's make him drunk again tonight. Then you go and have sexual relations with him, so we can preserve our family line through our father." So they made their father drunk that night as well. And the younger one came and had sexual relations with him, but he was not aware that she had sexual relations with him, and then got up. In this way, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the ancestor of the Moabites today. The younger daughter also gave birth to a son and named him Ben-Ami. He is the ancestor of the Ammonites of today. So, you have first the Lord revealing that he's going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham begging him not to sweep away the righteous with the wicked, and getting God to reveal that if only 10 righteous people were found there, he would not destroy the city. So these 2 angels come to the city and decide on staying out in the square of the city to see how righteous the people are. And then Lot brings them into his household. But the men of Sodom surround the city and demand the men. And well, eventually the city gets destroyed, and Lot's daughters have sex with Lot. So there you go. Yeah, I had heard that treating your guests well, or having your guests' safety as like your top priority, is like a Near Eastern thing, such that he even offered his 2 daughters rather than these 2 strangers that had just come to him. You'll notice that when the strangers said that they would destroy the city, Lot didn't argue, "Well, what about old man Joe who lives down the street? He's a saint." No. It's like, yeah, the city's toast. So, I guess with Abraham talking with God and saying, "If there's only 10 people in the city, will you destroy it?" And he says, "No." I just want to highlight that it's important to, even if we're the only person who's acting well and righteously before the Lord, to continue that, because God sees it. Yeah. Carrying on. Matthew chapter 6, verse 25 through chapter 7, verse 14. Oh, I guess one more thing before I move on from this passage. You have in Genesis 19:24, at the destruction of Sodom, then the Lord rained down sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah. It was sent down from the sky by the Lord. That is, here in the Old Testament, you have hints of Trinitarian doctrine being thrown in here, in that God, that is Yahweh, then Yahweh rained down sulfur and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from Yahweh in the sky. So you have aspects of that Trinitarian nature, at least a dual nature here in Genesis 19:24. So, carrying on, Matthew chapter 6, verse 25 through chapter 7, verse 14. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Isn't there more to life than food, and more to the body than clothing? Look at the birds in the sky. They do not sow or reap, or gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you more valuable than they are? And which of you, by worrying, can even add 1 hour to his life? Why do you worry about clothing? Think about how the flowers of the field grow. They do not work or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his glory was clothed like one of these. And if this is how God clothes the wild grass, which is here today and tomorrow is tossed into the fire to heat the oven, won't he clothe you even more, you people of little faith? So then don't worry, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? For the unconverted pursue these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But above all, pursue his kingdom and righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So then, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own. Do not judge, so that you will not be judged. For by the standard you judge, you will be judged, and the measure you use will be the measure you receive. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but fail to see the beam of wood in your own? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, while there is a beam in your own? You hypocrite, first remove the beam from your own eye, and then you can see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to dogs, or throw your pearls before pigs, otherwise they will trample them under their feet, and turn around and tear you to pieces. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Is there anyone among you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, although you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? In everything, treat others as you would want them to treat you, for this fulfills the law and the prophets. Enter through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide, and the way is spacious that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. But the gate is narrow, and the way is difficult that leads to life, and there are few who find it. Good stuff. Yeah, just thinking about the preface. Well, I mean, all of this is done before, like, the Roman crackdown of, well, at least destroying the temple in 70 AD. And would be a good time to be worried about certain things, but Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own. Yeah, I guess, speaking of which, those who were Christian decided to flee the city before the occupation rather than stay in it because of another passage. Yeah, I really like 7:7 and 7:8. That is, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks the door will be opened. I've heard many stories of Muslims who have come to the faith because they asked God to reveal himself and have subsequently had dreams of Jesus and come to the faith. Carrying on, Psalm chapter 8, verses 1 through 9. O Lord, our Lord, how magnificent is your reputation throughout the earth. You reveal your majesty in the heavens above. From the mouths of children and nursing babes you have ordained praise on account of your adversaries, so that you might put an end to the vindictive enemy. When I look up to the heavens, which your fingers made, and see the moon and the stars, which you set in place, of what importance is the human race, that you should notice them? Of what importance is mankind, that you should pay attention to them, and make them a little less than the heavenly beings? You grant to mankind honor and majesty. You appoint them to rule over your creation. You have placed everything under their authority, including all the sheep and cattle, as well as the wild animals, the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, and everything that moves through the currents of the sea. O Lord, our Lord, how magnificent is your reputation throughout the earth. Yeah. And Jesus used this one in Psalm 8 too. From the mouths of children and nursing babes you have ordained praise on account of your adversaries. He used that as part of the triumphal entry when the Pharisees were mad at him because little kids and were praising his name as part of the triumphal entry. So he rubbed it in further. I'm claiming to be God. So, and finally, Proverbs chapter 2, verses 6 through 15. For the Lord gives wisdom, and from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. He stores up effective counsel for the upright, and is like a shield for those who live with integrity, to guard the paths of the righteous, and to protect the way of his pious ones. Then you will understand righteousness and justice and equity, every good way. For wisdom will enter your heart, and moral knowledge will be attractive to you. Discretion will protect you, understanding will guard you, to deliver you from the way of the wicked, from those speaking perversity, who leave the upright paths to walk on the dark ways, who delight in doing evil, they rejoice in perverse evil, whose paths are morally crooked, and who are devious in their ways. Yeah. And this is prefaced by Proverbs 2:2, or, well, the first part, I guess. If you receive my words and store up my commands within you, by making your ear attentive to wisdom and by turning your heart to understanding, then you will understand how to fear the Lord, and you will discover knowledge about God. And that's wisdom helps one like a shield for those who live with integrity. Yeah, discretion will protect you. Understanding will guard you. So it's to one's benefit to gain wisdom because preserves one's life for all. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day.